and welcome to this issue's technique feature. We're here in the heart of mountain biking country, Birmingham, at the NEC, home of Cycle, the exhibition that will be showcasing all your favourite brands for 2013. The test track here has been put together so you can actually have a little spin around and put bikes to the test. Possibly not the most technical trail you've ever come across, for sure, but still an opportunity, maybe rather than just blasting around at full speed, to A, put a bike through a bit of its paces, and B, refine some of your skills. Josh, one of our instructor team at All Biked Up.
Hello.
And he's going to be working with us, just running through a few sections, and as I say, rather than going at hell for leather pace, we can perhaps refine our riding a little whilst testing out the latest kit. We're going to give you a little guided tour of the test track here and take a look at some of the different sections and maybe identify one or two core skills to perhaps focus on for each section. Rather than looking at whole sections and all the skills for each section, identifying one or two that are going to play a key part which you can polish and then take out to your home trails when you get back to riding. So on a restricted trail with probably a lot of number of people riding it, perhaps riding the bike like you've just nicked it isn't the best plan of action in terms of everyone else's enjoyment or your own. So we're going to have a look at the first section of the trail, fairly straightforward. We'll start to think about some core skills that we can polish up as we ride in. First thing we've got is a slightly banked corner, not the tightest of corners. Probably again identifying the core skills that apply to cornering, looking, footwork and body position. As we progress down the trail, perhaps thinking about pedalling less, pumping more, braking less, and just riding with minimum input for maximum output. As I say, a trail like this is going to get crowded. Hooning it at high speeds and pedalling fast is probably not going to get the most out of either the bike you're riding or the trail itself. For a recap on corners, what we're looking at here is a couple of overlapping sections where we've got a little left-hander followed by a little right-hander and into a final left-hander to complete this first section. As Josh rides through, we want to see his head up, the bike leaning, Josh standing on the outside pedal as he comes in, twisting those hips, rolling the knee over, and through he goes. This time Josh is going to run it in a slightly higher gear, having familiarised himself with the trail. So same amount of pedal strokes, but a little more speed carried through, a bit more push down on the pedal and into the bike, and leaning the bike over harder and twisting a little bit more as he comes through the corner. Negotiate the first few corners. There's another section where the corners get slightly more intense, and then we're into this little section here, which Josh has just come through nicely. Very small step down in the trail, can easily be rolled. You're not going to get into any trouble by rolling that, but a good opportunity just to practice your little push through technique, making sure the wheels land together. So by using good footwork, a little bit of energy management, pushing through the bike, keeping the head up. We've got a two-wheeled landing, and okay, it's only off a 4-inch drop, but the technique isn't going to change as it gets to 4 inches, 18 inches, 4 foot. Still the same technique, just a bit more of everything required. Certainly a lot more energy management when it comes to landing. And then Josh is off into the second section of this sector with a couple of little pumps and into a berm. So again, having found his feet on this trail and knowing what's ahead, Josh is going to run it a little bit faster, a little bit more push through, and on into the next section. So having dealt with the drop in the trail quite successfully and nice and quietly and smoothly, managing energy well as he lands, Josh comes into the next section, a couple of little rolling humps. Opportunity here to practice your manualing technique, manualing through the dip, but in the first instance we're going to see that he might choose to pump this section, bearing in mind that it's straight into a berm. If he chooses to manual through and comes out on the back wheel, the front wheel is not engaged early enough to get through the corner. So we'll look at it both ways, one playing with the manual, and then perhaps secondly a more sensible approach to this section, which will become apparent once it comes to riding it faster, which is actually pump the trail for a bit of speed, pedal less, flow more. So although Josh managed to manual nicely through that pump there, it did put him a bit late into the corner in terms of prepping up for the corner. It makes the sections overlap more, causing a bit of a problem in terms of having to think faster, make more decisions quickly, and ultimately could lead to a little bit of fright and flight if you're getting a bit late into the corner, thinking late into the corner, and maybe if you're not experienced in dealing with that level of flight and fight instinct, leading to a little braking in or just before the corner. This time Josh is going to ride it, just pump it more for speed and a bit more for flow, and then he's going to be ready earlier for the corner where he can tip the bike over nicely, get that pressure on the front wheel early, transfer the pressure through to the back wheel as he whips round, dropping the hill, pumping the corner, having pumped the dips. This corner isn't really that much of a berm, so we're going to have to create a lot of the grip through good footwork by really pushing down into the down pedal, the outside pedal as it comes down, and driving the tyres into the ground. It's also worth thinking about line choice. If you come up the inside, you've got a very late apex and a very tight turn. So as we approach the corner, maybe swinging to the outside, early apex, come through the corner, apexing more here, we're earlier through the corner, the hips twist earlier, we can roll the knee into the frame and twist those hips around and get the head up and look through the corner earlier, and therefore carry more speed rather than risk slipping out on what isn't a very banked corner. So again, this test track isn't just for testing how fast you can go in a straight line, it's about testing your skills in terms of tight corners, loose surfaces, flow, rhythm, and staying off the brakes as far as possible.